Hey everyone, it's Chasey Poo. Today I wanted to do a mental health update, which I haven't done in forever, but a lot has happened in the last year with my mental health, and I would like to kind of update you, but also this is a great way for me to log my mental health because then I can go back on my videos and know exactly how I felt. So this is honestly a little bit more for me, but you get a little added bonus of peeking into my life and my brain a little bit. So at the end of 2020, I ran out of my meds because I live in the US now, and I had run out of my medication, and I was like, let me find a psychiatrist. So I found a psychiatrist, and they actually offered a different type of treatment called TMS, which is transcranial magnetic stimulation. I actually did make a long-ass video about this in June about how it was great and how it cured my depression. I privatized that video 2 months after that. So if you don't know what TMS is, basically you sit on a chair and they put this magnetic thing on your forehead, and it just sends these magnetic stimulant pulses into your brain exactly where the brain has the depression, so it kind of supposed to treat the depression head on. It was 6 weeks, every day for 6 weeks. It was a lot. It was very expensive. Insurance covered for it, most of it. I just had co-pays. So when I finished, and then a couple of months after, I felt amazing, and it felt really, really great. And then all of a sudden, literally day and night, boom, back to super depressed, worse than I was before. I have no idea what happened. I wasn't on meds because this was supposed to be a no medication, non-invasive treatment for depression, so I wasn't put back on meds. And I don't know what happened, but I just was not okay. So in July or August of 2021, I removed that video because I was like, I don't want anyone to see this thinking that this is an amazing treatment. Maybe it works for some people, maybe it doesn't for others. I obviously got into this loophole, it's wormhole, rabbit hole of all these people who've had negative experiences of TMS, and I feel like I should have done my research before, and I feel like my memory is a little bit affected, but that might just be depression and anxiety. I don't know. But anyways, I don't want to talk about TMS right now. I want to talk about how I'm doing. So this stuff gets pretty heavy, so trigger warning for a lot of stuff, but yeah, just kind of letting you know how I'm feeling. I was going through some stuff, and my therapist was like, maybe it's a good idea to consider meds again, and Sierra actually also suggested that. So I decided, okay, let me get a psychiatrist, let me talk about the potential medication that I could go on, and if that's a good idea for me right now. So I had an assessment with a psychiatrist, and within 10 minutes, he diagnosed me with bipolar. Also, spoiler alert, I'm not bipolar, but let me explain. He literally asked me questions about my mood, which is very typical, the mood disorder questionnaire, whatever, NDQ. And I answered yes to one question. Have you had more than 2 or 3 days where you felt really good? And I was like, yeah, the sun was out, I felt really good, I felt really hyper, I didn't really know what was going on, but I just felt good, and that just felt good. And he was like, oh, okay. And that was his diagnosis for me of bipolar 2, because bipolar 2, you actually only need to have one hypomanic episode in your life. So it's not a reoccurring thing, it could just be one. And so he established that specific episode as me being bipolar. I did not agree with this diagnosis. I have seen so many mental health professionals, and how am I 30 at that point and not ever get that diagnosis? Doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, so he decides to put me on a antipsychotic. Now, I can't say the name of it because I think it's a brand name because it's the only one available, so, and I don't want this video to get demonetized. Ends with a Tuda. I also warned him not to put me on antipsychotics because I don't do well with them. I've been on them before, and it makes me feel like a zombie, and I literally feel, again, trigger warning, very suicidal. So I just told him, I'm like, okay, I will try them because you're telling me that this will help me, but I'm very skeptical. And maybe I shouldn't have gone in there with a skeptical attitude, but that's just how I felt. Let me just say that why would you put me on this fucking medication? Because it is the most expensive, antipsychotic you can get. I'm not even joking. There's no generic version of it because it's so new that it costs, it was $75 for 30 pills, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm used to not having to pay more than $10, So it was For every month I'd have to pay 70 bucks? What? No. However, I learned that this specific antipsychotic is newer, but it has less side effects, which, okay, let's try it out. So I tried it out. Spoiler alert, 0% felt good. I actually felt worse. To the point where I got onto the video chat with my therapist and he said, "Oh, were you like doing some exercise? You okay?" And I was like, "Oh no, I've just been crying for the last 4 hours and I have no idea why." And we started talking, and I suggested, I'm like, I don't know if the level of care that you can provide me right now is what I need. I don't know if I need to go to an inpatient or if I need some other type of professional help. I don't know what to do, but I'm freaking out and I don't know what to do, and it's scaring me. So we got into like an agreement that I should take a look at some outpatient places in New Jersey and kind of figure out what I should do from there and see if I should get into their program and like what they suggest and things like that. So I did just that. I called on like the Wednesday to get an assessment into this like outpatient place, and they got me an appointment right away on Friday of that week because they were like, "Oh, okay, like I'm severe," and I started the program that Monday. So I'm really glad that it was expedited, and for like the first time ever, I felt like my mental health was not falling between the cracks, because I feel like that's been the case like my whole life. I feel like I've never truly been taken care of, and this time I felt like I was being seen. Anyway, so this outpatient program was 8 weeks, and it was 3 times a week for like from 9 to 12 or something like that. It was like a lot of group therapy, and I didn't have individual therapy, which really messed me up. You only got individual therapy if you went into the men's trauma group, which they actually suggested I go to, but I refused to because I'm not comfortable talking about my feelings with men. Maybe this would have been the time that it would have helped me, but to be honest, I didn't want to have to deal with thinking about that on top of me being suicidal. Like, it was like, that's not what I want to be doing, so I wanted to stay in the regular group because people there deal with like trauma and depression, anxiety, bipolar, all these different things, and I kind of wanted that mix instead of just trauma because my issues were not just trauma-based, you know? However, I do have a lot of trauma that I do need to deal with that I never realized was actually really bad, that I really need to deal with until I actually saw the psychiatrist at this place. And I'm always really skeptical of psychiatrists because I just feel like I don't ever get the meds that I should, like that work for my brain, and I get it. However, this one was like the best psychiatrist I've ever had in my life. I wish I could see her again, but I can't because I'm no longer part of this program. However, she was really great, and she said, we'll put down bipolar 2 as a tentative diagnosis, because I told her what the other psychiatrist had said. So I obviously was taken off of that antipsychotic because I was not okay at all, and I was put back onto my meds that I was on before. Now I was on these meds for like 7 and 4 years. So I think I can tell you the names because it's not a brand name. Bupropion, which starts with a W and ends in a Utrin. And the other one, fluoxetine, which is a pro and ends in ac. I'm being like vague because in the past I've like said the names of medication. My whole video is like completely demonetized. And I was like, what? Am I not allowed to talk about my meds? Is this mental health? Is this targeting? But it was just because it was the name of the meds. So I try not to. So anyways, those are the meds that I'm on. I was on the B1 for like 7 years before, and on the F1 for like 3 or 4 years. So I knew that they worked for me. So I was very happy to get back on them, and it has helped me tremendously, on top of obviously having the group therapy and like being able to talk about things, and I feel better. So I ended the group therapy at, right before Christmas actually. So now we're 3 months after, and I feel a lot better. I feel more energetic, and I feel I still need to take care of myself mentally and like take breaks when I need to and not overwork myself. So if I'm like, I'm tired, I need to take a nap, I'm gonna take a nap. I'm gonna listen to my body, and I'm not gonna overwork myself because that just means the next day I'm gonna be overly tired. So I've really learned to check in with myself and figure out what I need and work when I work. And I know that that's hard for some people to say because I do work from home, and I have I have another job where I work in person too, but I tend to know how to like compartmentalize my stress and make sure that I'm more happy than stressed. And I've also recently started to go to the gym where I'm like doing weights and like swimming a lot, and that's really helped me to like actually move my body, because I feel like we've been crammed into the house for the last 2 years, blah blah blah. It's very annoying. So there is actually one big problem. When I left my therapist to go into this outpatient program, I figured, all right, you know, I'll be back right after the 8 weeks. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. You know, I'll see you when you're done. So when the outpatient was over, I knew I needed to send my discharge paperwork. So I did, and I gave them a call. I'm like, hi, I would love to schedule an appointment with my therapist. I'm done the outpatient program. I've been discharged. This is when they tell me I am no longer a patient at this like clinic. And I say, what? I literally had therapy there like 8 weeks ago. And they said, yeah, but you haven't been a patient here for 8 weeks, so you're not a patient here anymore. And I'm like, but I wasn't an outpatient. They're like, yeah, exactly. You left for another facility. You're no longer a patient here. And I was like, okay, but outpatient ends. Like, I need a therapist. I need my therapist. I don't want to go through this again and find another therapist. I've been seeing him for a year. And because this was the end of the year, they said, well, we can put you on the wait list, which we can't start until the beginning of the new year, so in 2022. And I was like, okay. I did give attitude because I was like not happy because no one told me this at all. 0%. My therapist didn't even know, because he actually gave me a call a month later and was like, hey Chase, how's it going? Like, just wondering like if you wanted to come back, no pressure at all. And I was like, I'm dying to come back. They won't let me come back. I'm on a fucking waiting list. Anyway, so I called the office and I'm like, okay, am I on the waiting? Can I just make an appointment, please? I want to see my therapist, and it needs to be the exact same therapist because I'm not starting this over again. And they were like, okay, we'll make your appointment. But it looks like with your insurance, you're actually going to have to pay until you meet your $1,500 deductible. Excuse me? No? Like, that literally, no. I got my new insurance in October. I had therapy all of October. Like, I didn't have to pay the full amount. I just had to pay the amount for the telehealth or whatever my copay, $35, $40 is. What do you mean I have to pay the entire thing? And they're like $180 a session. Are you kidding me? No. Anyway, I know I'm like giving a lot of attitude, but I just like, it's really bothered me that I want to go back to individual therapy so badly, and I want my specific therapist and I can't access him. So I'm going to try again to call the office and see if they like called my insurance, because they said they were going to do that and call me back. They never did. So we're just gonna kind of like work it, and I'm just like, I'm stressed about that. I have some things that I need to talk about, and I think that's why I'm making this video, is I haven't had individual therapy in like 4 months and any therapy in 3 months, so I need to like get things off my chest. So yeah, I'm in a mood TM right now because I'm pissed that I don't have my therapist. And anyways, mental health update wise, I feel a lot better than I did. And the psychiatrist, by the way, removed that tentative diagnosis of bipolar because I was on one antidepressant and then on another antidepressant. And usually, if you go on a new antidepressant, it actually triggers a manic episode. And I did 2 different ones at different times in like the same like 6-week period, and I did not have any hypomanic episodes. So she removed that diagnosis. It could have happened where at that moment I did have a hypomanic episode, but it doesn't affect my life at all. If it happens again, like Sierra will notice, she's a nurse practitioner, she'll be like, hey Chase, something's going on here. And she'll be able to like straight up tell me, but she's never noticed anything like bizarre. So I don't think I have bipolar 2. I could, but at this point it is not a diagnosis that I hold. I have depression, anxiety. I just have anxiety, just depression, just a little PTSD and OCD. But no bipolar, not for me. We'll see in the future, I guess. I don't know. It's just, I know I'm joking and like totally not making fun of people who have bipolar. It's just the fact that this fucking psychiatrist like diagnosed me in 10 minutes, like straight up. Bro, what? Anyways, I feel better. There are some up and down days, but I think going to the gym, moving my body, swimming feels a lot better. And yeah, just kind of like, excited about the future, I guess. And I feel like there is a future. Whereas a couple months ago, I literally was scared I wasn't going to live the next day. I literally would just sit down and cry. My coworkers were like, Chase, are you okay? Like, you're not feeling, you don't look like yourself. Like, you're not joking around with the customers like you usually do. And I'm like, I'm literally not okay. Like, I don't even think I should work. So I almost took an entire month off of work, and I only work part-time, like 2 to 3 shifts a week. But I ended up doing like just like 2 shifts, like on the weekends and stuff after therapy. Anyway, I don't even know why I'm telling you this. I'm just gonna stop talking now. I just need to get like some stuff off my chest because I'm like so mad that I can't have therapy. So maybe by the time I post this video, I will have access to my therapist again. The other thing is that I should actually be looking for a trauma-specific, specialized therapist. They don't need to do like EDMR or whatever it's called, but I do have some pretty intense trauma that I need to unpack and deal with. And I don't know if my therapist that I want to go to can handle that, but I do want to go back to him right now because I don't know. I'm all over the place. Anyways, okay, thanks so much for watching. Sorry about this. All right, love you. Bye.